Hello students, today we will study class 12 English literature from book Flamingo, chapter 3, Deep Water. Deep Water is written by William O. Douglas. So let's know more about the author first. So William O. Douglas was born in 1898 in Maine, Minnesota, USA. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in English as well as Economics, and he spent 2 years in teaching high school in Yakima, but he got tired with the teaching job and decided to pursue a legal career. So he met there Franklin D. Roosevelt, the then US president, and became an advisor and friend to the president. Douglas was a leading advocate of individual rights, human fundamental rights, and he retired in 1975 with term lasting 36 years. And this is the longest serving justice in the history of court. So he was the longest serving justice in the history of court. This excerpt is taken from his book of Men and Mountains. Okay, and this is an autobiography, and this a particular part is selected, and the title is given Deep Water. So in this essay he talks about his fear of water, and thereafter how he finally overcame it, how he finally conquered it, finally removed this fear of water. So notice how the autobiographical part of the selection is used to support this discussion of fear. So first, now know more about the lesson 2. So William Douglas has 2 mishaps, 2 accidents, terrible scary accidents, that is mishaps, with water at a very early age. He was barely 3 or 4 years when his father jokingly threw him into water so that he can have fun. But young Douglas panicked and traumatized. So he was very fond of water sports, and for this reason he joined a swimming pool, because he had so much fear of water, but he had so much he was very much fond of water also. He wanted to play games, he wanted to do boating, canoeing and any sports, but because of his fear of water he could not enjoy it, and so that is why he wanted to join a swimming pool. But unfortunately at pool also a bully came, a bully who wants to, in class also you have seen some boy or girl want to intimidate the other classmates, want to show power, want to show strength. These are called bully. So a bully came, and he did not know that Douglas was not knowing the swimming. So he was ignorant of the fact that he was just a novice, a beginner. He did not know how to swim, and for him it was just a usual prank. So he threw him into the swimming pool at the deep end, and the trauma and this particular event nearly killed Douglas. He was rescued, but the trauma and the fear gripped him all the more firmly. So these 2 mishaps, one at the very tender age, and then when he was around 11 or 12 years of age. So those 2 mishaps actually created a great trauma and created a great fear of water in him. So he wanted to learn how to swim at any cost. Here you have to see that even Douglas has so much fear. He wanted, in all those years also, he wanted to overcome this fear. Though the fear is not going away, but he never stopped making an efforts to remove those fear. So what did he do? He hired the services of a professional coach, and under him learned how to swim in few months' time. His perseverance his continuous effort, even without the difficulties. That is called perseverance. When you are doing, even so many obstacles are coming, but you are doing your work, your efforts, then it is called perseverance. And perseverance paid off. He became a swimmer. He was successful in participating in all the water sports, and that was his fond wish. So here you can see that any obstacle can be conquered, any obstacles can be won if you show your diligence, your hard work, and your sheer determination. So let's know more important points of the lesson first. So when Douglas was 11 or 12, he was at YMCA swimming pool waiting for his batchmates to arrive. And he was there as a beginner. He was a total novice. Novice means a beginner, inexperienced, the one who is joined for the first time. So a big bully of a boy, he was waiting beside the swimming pool, waiting for his other friends to arrive. So a big bully of a boy, nearly 18 years of age, arrived. What he did, it was a usual prank for him. He was a bully, he wanted to show his power. He wanted to intimidate him. So he picked up Douglas and tossed him into the deep water of swimming pool. He knew not that Douglas is not knowing swimming. Douglas was unable to swim. For him, it was just a usual joke. So Douglas already had a fearful experiences when he was barely 3 or 4. At the beach, his father had jokingly thrown him into water. Father laughed it off just to have a fun. Okay, he must be having fun. But Douglas was panicked and traumatized. And that fear, the second mishap, actually the fear gripped him firmly. After being thrown into the deep part of the swimming pool, Douglas planned a strategy how to rescue himself. So he decided to give a mighty push as soon as his feet touches the floor, which he hoped will take him to the surface and would be able to catch the side rope. So he had this plan of a strategy that suppose he is sinking down, he will touch the floor and then he will push. He will give a mighty push so that he can come up at the surface, and then they will find a side rope and will come out of the swimming pool. So unfortunately, that did not happen. He could not catch the rope. He panicked and felt suffocated and started sinking again. He went down a second time, worked on the same strategy again, and his attempt failed again. So what do? When all your efforts failed, you just lose hope. You just thought, okay, nothing could be done. So at that particular situation, sheer stark terror seized him. Terror. He was terrified. He was frightened and breathless and terror-stricken because he could not breathe. He was sinking down. He could not breathe. His body and mind both became limp, thus not working properly. As he was going down a third time, he stopped struggling because the fight in him was lost. The fight in him was dead, and he decided to go to sleep. He decided to die. There is no escape from the death. So let me die. He lost struggle. He stopped his struggle. He stopped his fight because the fight in him was dead. So next he found himself lying on his stomach beside the pool, vomiting. Someone had seen him drowning and rescued him because that bully called someone that a boy is drowning, and so a rescuer came and saved him. Rescued means saved him. So several hours later, he was home. He remained unwell for few days and thereafter shut off his longing for swimming. Longing means desire, his want. So he just, because of two mishaps and that the second one nearly killed him. So he just lost his hope of learning swimming. But his interest was revived again a few years later. What happened then? So here he learned about interesting water games like canoeing. Canoeing is like a very narrow boat with pointed ends. This is an people sail through those kind of narrow boats is called canoeing. Water boating, water football games. There are so many water sports. So he learned about interesting water games and wanted to enjoy them. But how would he if he did not know how to swim? So fishing was another activity he was keenly interested. He was very fond of fishing. He wanted to fish. So, but for any water activity, what happened? You need to know how to swim. Otherwise, there can't be, because water is vast. River, in any areas, there might be deep end. All of a sudden, once it seems shallow, and all of a sudden there is deep end. So there is always the risk of drowning if you do not know how to swim. So any water activity, you must know how to swim, and yet he was still in the firm grip of old terror of water. He was deeply terrified, and that Mr. Terror is not going away. So all the more he came, and he wanted to enjoy those sports, but he could not. He could not enjoy it because he could not know swimming. He could not learn swimming. So what happened? He decided to try once more. He never lost hope. So he had resources. He hired a coach and rented a swimming pool. The coach made him a swimmer bit by bit. And one by one, step by step, he moved forward. So in a few months' time, he was able to swim several lengths of the pool. A rope tied to his waist, and passed through a pulley was held by the coach to keep him everything under control. So at last the instructor was finished, but not Douglas. So why you say that? Okay, instructor has done his work. In all these steps, bit by bit, he first removed his fear, a proper fear about not knowing the thing. But what happened here? And one by one, he removed, step by step, he moved forward. So in a few months' time, he was able to swim several lengths of the pool. A rope tied to his waist, and passed through a pulley was held by the coach to keep him everything under control. So at last the instructor was finished, but not Douglas. So why you say that? Okay, instructor has done his work. In all these steps, bit by bit, he first removed his fear, a proper fear about not knowing the thing. But what happened here?